Now, I consider myself a somewhat knowledgeable collector, Star Wars fan. I've seen a lot. However, I'm a little baffled by this particular figure. And you guys in the comment section can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be. But this is the Hot Toys Shadow Trooper with Death Star environment, and it's MMS 737. Now, MMS means Movie Masterpiece Series. I'm struggling to figure out what movie this guy was in. He was originally in a newspaper comic way back in 1979. He's been featured in video games like Battlefront, and I'm trying to figure out which Star Wars fan. I'm just drawing a blank. I am absolutely drawing a blank as to what film a Shadow Trooper actually showed up in. And for whatever reason, at the moment of this recording, I'm drawing a blank. Comment down below. Let me know what the heck it was. But it is MMS 737. And this is a Shadow Trooper. Now, truth be known, this is a reissue of a figure that came out in 2015 for Battlefront. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I've never owned this figure. I've never seen the Shadow Trooper, the original Shadow Trooper. I've never owned it. There have been times when I've thought about picking it up, and I was like, I'd have to get multiples of them. And I just, for whatever reason, I just never picked it up. I guess I was buying clones. But now we have one. Hot Toys is sought fit to take our money and reissue this in addition with a cool diorama base. So that's cool. The previous one didn't come with that. So I'm excited for that one. I will be getting more of these because, it's just what you do. But I have one right now, and I got this one from Pop Collectibles. So if you want to get one from them, link in the description below. This is a pretty cool piece. So you're going to get a figure, you're going to get a diorama base, and it's in a movie somewhere that I'm drawing a blank on. That being said, this insert might be one of the coolest inserts we've seen from them in a very long time. That's simple. I think it's the Death Star walls, and you got the Galactic Empire logo, and you got stuff going on. It just looks cool. It just looks cool. I dig it. MMS again 737 Shadow Trooper with Death Star environment. That's just a cool photo. So kudos to them. I know this is all Photoshop-ish, but it looks good. I like it. I dig it. So let's get into this. Now, I have already taken the plastic bits off of here. Save us a little bit of time because why not? So we've got our E11 blaster here. We'll kind of move this to the side. We've got our E11 blaster here, which looks pretty much like every other E11 blaster we've had in the past. Unlike the Clone Trooper variant of this, I guess that would be the DC-15S. The E11 actually has the stock that goes over the grip. So that, I don't know why they couldn't do that for the clones, but they decided not to. And keep in mind, this does peg into here. And over time, as I do this correctly, over time, every one of these I've gotten loose and this just dangles down. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but you can see the detailed grips here. Those look nice. The paint application looks nice. It's solid black with a little bit of dry brushing going on. It looks pretty good. We've seen plenty of those before. We've got the figure itself. We got some hands. We got some ammo pouches. Let's just get into this. It's going to be a fingerprint magnet, and I'm okay with that. Let's get him out of here. Let's take a look at the figure first. I'm pretty excited for this, guys. I got to say, he looks freaking beautiful. Now, check out those lenses, silver mouth part, silver gills. I forget the respirator part of you get the idea. But silver in there, it looks great. It's not chrome, but it does have a little bit of sheen to it. It's definitely not chrome. We got more chrome figures coming. I do have the gold chrome Clone Trooper in the house, and we have Cody and the regular Stormtrooper coming with the backdrop. So those reviews are coming. But we do have this guy. It's got the pauldron you can leave on or take off. I do like that. The previous clones we've had that have had pauldrons, they've been connected to the chest armor. That's been kind of annoying because you can't take them off. Even if you should have the option to, is what I'm saying. On this one, you do have the option if you want to have multiples of these. You have one pauldron, you have one without, however you want to do it. But paint application-wise, look at the amount of weathering on this guy. I know from the photos it was going to have some. I don't know why he's got so much. But it's fine. It brings some realism to the figure. You got some weathering going on here, and I know it's really hard to tell on a glossy black surface. But you do have weathering going on here, weathering on the shoulder armor all the way down. Even that light weathering on the armor of the hands and on the pouches. I mean, pretty much every surface that you can think of that you would, in photos, might think this is solid black and clean, like I don't know, just saw a fresh trooper. This is not a fresh trooper. It is shiny, but he's not as shiny, if that makes sense. So everything's weathered, even the belt, which is loose, by the way. So you can get some range of motion out of that. And he's very lightweight. I mean, this is a lightweight guy, typical 6-scale body from Hot Toys, nothing fancy about that. This is pleather. It's not real leather, but it's nicely done. It's fine. These magnets, for those that don't own any of these magnets suck and the glue comes off and it's just not my favorite design for that. But there we go. The belt is on with Velcro, so we can tighten that and loosen that, move it around however we want to do with that. But it's pretty straightforward. We need that to attach our thermal detonator, which is still in the packaging, which comes on these little clips, which anytime you pose this guy will end up coming off and falling on the floor, and you'll end up losing it. But I'm going to put that to the side for right now. Again, weathering it here on the butt plate all the way down, and then if we go down here all the way down to the shin. Now, obviously, Stormtrooper, different knee attachments and different knee armor, so that's typical for Stormtrooper. And it looks exactly like you would expect it to look. 6-scale wrist peg or foot peg, and then you've got no tread whatsoever on the feet. It looks exactly how you expect it to look. So out of the box, it's what I expect. As far as mobility goes, just messing around with it, you're going to get plenty of mobility. It reminds me, I mean, look at that double pin. That's beautiful. It reminds me of the Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper set with the backdrop. It reminds me of that as far as posability and the lightness of the armor. Like it's fairly light. You're going to run into bends here, hit with the armor hitting each other, and you can kind of maneuver this thigh piece around and kind of deal with that a little bit. I mean, but for a trooper, like this is probably, I'll say this, probably more range of motion in this actual 6-scale figure than you would get as the person in the actual life-size suits. So there's that. I mean, that just, yeah. They're not sitting down. They're certainly not getting legs up and they're just not doing that. So I kind of dig this so far. It would be really cool. I know it doesn't make sense. Not canon. It would be cool if the eyes lit up, but they don't. But it does look pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with the figure itself. Kind of dig that. Going back to accessories, we've got some ammo pouches that are attached by these elastic bands. So we'll put those on the figure. So you could use those or not use those. It's totally up to you. These, again, are pleather. So there's that. And here's your elastic band. You can use it, not use it, however you want to do it. Hands-wise, we got 2 relaxed hands that come on the figure itself, 2 fists, 2 trigger hands, and then you've got a gesturing hand. And just show you the detail on the hands and the weathering on that. Here is the gesturing hand. And you can see like the bit of speckle of weathering going on there. So, yeah, it looks pretty good too. Now, in addition to the figure, which looks to be pretty awesome, it should be fun to pose, we've got this diorama backdrop, which you get a little Death Star style base plate. I kind of dig that. It says Shadow Trooper on it. Normal crotch grabber, nothing to write home about there. But you do get this, and I think this is a really good value. I think this figure and the Imperial Stormtrooper that we're going to get another copy of here shortly, I think these represent really, really good value. Put that box over there. If you get this backdrop, I mean, you couldn't build this backdrop for what they charge for the figure and the back. You couldn't build this. You couldn't do it. Now, some people are going to complain. It's AAA batteries. It's not USB-C. This is a direct reissue. All they've done is added red acrylic instead of white acrylic. That's it. That's the only difference they've got going on here. It's exactly the same height. You see the same printed plate on the back if you want to use that. I mean, nobody's using that. Everybody's using this, right? And it looks good and does peg into the back of this specific base. You see a little peg here. It kind of sits on there. That's how that works. And then if you slide this up, you get access to the battery compartment, 3 AAA batteries, not included. And then you can just turn this guy on. So I want to show you what this looks like on and off. This is currently off. And then we've got on, off, on. So if I want to show that with the lights, we'll kill the lights. There we go. Obviously it's off. And then Boom. So it looks really good. It's quite striking. So even with the AAA batteries, if you want to leave them in, you could absolutely do that. They look pretty good. However, if you want to run like a row of these or have multiples in the display, get the AAA batteries that are connected via cable, and then you can plug them in and USB or plug them into a smart plug, and you can have all your panels lit up at the same time. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna turn that off. Thankfully, the AAA battery is gonna last a lot longer than the button cell batteries. Don't have to worry about that. But I think what we need to do, pose this guy up. All right, here we go, guys. We've got our Shadow Trooper posed up, simple, not using a backdrop yet. And it looks menacing. Like if you saw this guy chasing you down a hallway of a ship, well, you would keep running, I think. Unless you were a Jedi, then you just flash your saber and blaster bolt, rebound back to him, and then that would be the end of it. But if you're not a Jedi, it looks pretty freaking cool, right? I think it does anyways. And the details on this guy look brilliant. The gloss on it is exactly what you expect. It's good looking. Simple pose. I don't think this is one anybody's going to go any crazy poses with, because you're not going to buy a whole pile of them and like army build and do dynamic stuff. I don't see that happening. The ammo pouches go on, slide right over on the little, I guess, attachments, I guess, for lack of a better word. They're like little belt things. They go on fairly easy. And yeah, it looks pretty good. I think it's the exact same release as they released in 2015, plus a backdrop, which I think is cool. We'll look at the backdrop lit up here in just a second. I'm pretty happy with this. What else am I going to say? It's a Trooper. I'm happy to have it. I will need to get a second one. I will definitely be doing one of those. But I think posability-wise, armor-wise, it's pretty freaking brilliant. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, if I go down, and one area I do not like are the pleather holsters, and I don't like the magnet because 100% that magnet's going to come unglued from the strap, and then it's not going to magnetize for it. So I'm never going to use that for that reason. I haven't had any flaking issues with mine for other ones, so I don't think I'm going to have that in my climate. You might in your climate, I don't know. But mine, not too much an issue. And then down on the shoes, like it stands up fine, no issues with that whatsoever. Balance-wise, like everything, it's a solid figure. And I cannot tell you, like the value on this one is strong. So $240 some odd dollars plus tax and shipping and whatever in the States. You get a backdrop, you get a Trooper, you get hands, and you get a figure that you couldn't get before at retail. Pretty happy with this one myself. I do need to add a second one. Let's do another pose. All right, here we go. We got the backdrop up, and I do want to do one thing for you guys if I can. I think I showed this to you a little bit earlier. Here is with the lights. I have a lot of lights on. Let's be honest with you guys. I have a lot of studio lights going on right now. But if I cut off the key lights, I guess if you will, you can see the backdrop a little bit better. And there you go. So that's what it looks like. But obviously, if I did that, you wouldn't be able to see the Trooper, and that doesn't make for a very good video. So here's the lights back on. I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely strong enough on the display. I think it looks fine. You can either have it powered on or powered off. I think that would look fine too either way. And if you've got the other version, you get the Stormtrooper version with the white acrylic instead of red acrylic. I think that'll look fine too, but this is pretty cool. I plan on having a couple of these guys. Now, as far as like little nitpicks on the figure, it is very similar, if not the exact same armor as the Return of the Jedi Trooper. And the previous, or the newly announced one, the newly released one with the backdrop, I don't even think they put Return of the Jedi, but they have Return of the Jedi photos as the blogger set. Anyways. What I mean is the armor is loose, like all of the armor is loose around the figure and it moves around a lot. Sometimes that's good for posing because you can move it out of the way and bend an elbow or bend a knee or whatever. And sometimes it's good for posing, and sometimes it's just a nuisance because you're like, just stay where the hell you're supposed to stay. And there's that. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to both. You can kind of, you decide. I guess it's whatever mood you happen to be in. That's kind of where it ends up. But I think this guy on his own looks pretty stinking good with the backdrop. So I'll absolutely be using my backdrop. I'll be using AAA battery connectors on it because it is AAA. It takes 3 AAA batteries, if I remember correctly. And we'll plug those into like a USB smart hub or something like that. We'll have it lit up. It'll look pretty cool. I thought somebody might want to see what these guys look like together. So we have the Rogue One Death Trooper Specialist on the left, considerably taller than our, well, I'll say considerably, somewhat taller. He looks taller. I guess I can measure it. He's taller than our Shadow Trooper. And then we've got our Arena Suit Boba Fett on the right, which is the shortest of the bunch. So all these look great together. I'm pretty pleased. Now, I gave you guys a little nitpick about the armor being a little loose earlier, and that is 100% correct. But there's one more little nitpick I got. And this is just a design issue. If you're having the pauldron on the figure, which you can take it off. I have no plans to do that, but if you want to, you can. If you have the pauldron on the figure, the head helmet barely pegs in. Like it's on there, but if you want to rotate it and you want to like move the shoulders around, you want to twist and do something crazy, like you're gonna have issues. It's gonna have issues. So just keep that in mind. It's just how it is, man. You got dimensions. It is what it is. So it's not going to deter me from having fun with the figure. And I don't know exactly what dynamic pose I'm going to end up with or how it's going to look on the shelf just yet. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section, how would you display yours? How would you do it? Would you display it like this? Maybe more Death Troopers? I have more. Would you put it with the regular troopers, like the regular Stormtroopers, and just have them in a lineup and they'll just be separate? I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do it just yet. But right now, they look pretty good, just kind of posed up like this, and we'll see how it plays out in the end. If you want one of these for yourself, check out Pop Collectibles, link in the description below. And if you want to support the channel on Patreon, that would be amazing. We're going to be giving away some stuff here shortly on that. Actually, we just gave away some stuff recently. So I'm giving away stuff. Yeah, you get the idea. Support the channel there. We'd love to have you with our specific Facebook group on Patreon. Or on Facebook for the Patreon group, and we'll love to have you there. So, as always, collect what you like. See you next time.